What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Rurouni Kenshin. This is episode 18 and 19. And again, we're doing two episode reviews this week because the episode last week wasn't really all that eventful. So we kind of waited for the next one to come out. But yeah, with me as always, I have Wolfspade.
Yeah, of course, another reason for this is 18 and 19 are, of course, one big storyline,
Yeah.
focusing on Sanosuke meeting up with his when an old friend of his. Uh, I think during the old revolution days. So he comes across like an old painting of his old captain, and he finds out that the author of the painting, what was it? His name is Sukioka. So he goes to find this person, and it's his old friend, a friend and fellow member of the is it the Sekihotai, during the pre-Meiji era. So they end up catching up with everything that's happened since then. But of course, Sanosuke finds out that Tsukioka is looking to cause is looking to start a revolution against the Meiji government.
Yeah. Um, yeah, basically he's been like spending his life as a painter for 10 years, but he's also been planning to uh start this revolution against the Meiji government. And of course he wants Sanosuke to try to join him in trying to rebel against the new government.
Yeah, I mean, Sanosuke is of course initially reluctant in doing so, but of course he reluctantly agrees. So Sanosuke, of course, organizes a large party and invites all of his friends and everybody else. Like I guess for his reunion with his friend Tsukioka, and of course, they all have a chat and have fun, and then of course it gets to the point where Tsukioka meets Kenshin face to face, and of course finds out that Kenshin is a former member, of the what was it, the Meiji government at the time.
Mhm.
So of course, soon after the party winds down, Sukioka and Sanosuke, of course, make their move to head to the government building, and of course, Kenshin is of course is aware of what they're up to, and of course follows them to the building.
Yeah. Um yeah, when they get there they try to they basically like throw out these I think it was like some kind of or explosives or smoke bombs or something to try to distract the guards while they sort of go around the perimeter and try to go in through go in the other another way. uh and that's kind of where as you pointed out earlier, Kenshin knows what they're doing. So Kenshin had left before then, or left before them, or had gotten there before them, and tries to like head them off and intercept them there.
Yeah, Sukiyaka, of course, tries to throw like a ton of bombs towards Kenshin, but of course, Kenshin manages to defuse every single one of them with his Sakamoto. And Sanosuke just stands there, trying to convince Sukiyaka that the fight against Kenshin is pointless. And they eventually both end up escaping the premises, and eventually
Well, he not well. I mean, uh, yeah, Sukioka gets knocked out by Sagara,
Mhm.
um, but and of course Kenshin lets them go, and Sagara asks like what Kenshin would have done if he had went further with Sukioka's plan, and Kenshin of course says he wouldn't really hesitate to to take him out, but of course he's saying he's not really going to kill him. Kenshin doesn't kill, so he probably just take him out with his knock him out with his Sakamoto.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it kind of makes me wonder, like, if Sagura was just going along with it. I guess he was just kind of going along with it because he was his friend, um, and not necessarily because he really believed in, or I guess not so much that he doesn't believe like that the government should be reformed, but he doesn't support the ways in which Tsukioka wanted to do it.
Yeah, so they eventually head back to his home, only to find out that his friend's bombs, have been taken away by Kenshin. And of
Yeah,
course, this infuriates Tsukioka. Feels like he's been betrayed by Sanosuke and decides to commit suicide. But Sanosuke stops him from doing so. And after a brief scuffle, Sanosuke of course convinces Tsukioka that yeah, there's a lot they don't agree with what the government's doing, but he he and many other people that he's associated with are just pretty much move on from their lives, despite what's going on in the country itself.
yeah. Which kind of ends up convincing. Well, he in a way kind of tells Sukioka like there's other ways you can try to make change instead of, I guess, instead of just trying to do it through like a violent revolution. Um, which Sukioka is like, it's kind of like, I guess in a way these two episodes were like just his sort of somewhat of a character arc for him, because that's kind of what he ends up doing is he goes back to his paintings. Well, they said that he makes like a new like news publication or something where uh he I th- I think
Like
what was it, the
basically,
guy that
he
he's
starts I mean, he starts like a newspaper, like I forgot what it's called. Like,
I'm
he
guessing
well,
it was
he
some anti Meiji government sort of publication or something.
yeah,
Um
that thing.
well,
Um,
yeah, but his like one of his new art pieces was I guess a painting of their former commander. Um and which, well, he was of course one of um one of the group that was against the, I guess, the imperialists uh in the war. Uh,
yeah,
so yeah, I guess in that way he's kind of it's in his own way he's like rebelling, or
yeah.
yeah,
It I mean, basically just creating newspaper articles criticizing the Meiji government,
or just,
in bo
well,
yeah.
yeah, that and just creating art that maybe the Meiji government wouldn't like or something, because it represents figures that oppose them,
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, I mean, I thought these two episodes, they were okay. Again, it's kind of like the last little story arc we got. It was, it kind of, what it was different from the last one, but it was it was definitely like shorter. It's still okay. I mean, I kind of like how it sort of um it sort of also in some ways also develops somewhat Sanosuke as a character too, and with his history with this guy. Um, and I mean, that's kind of what I liked about it. Other than that, it was kind of, like I said, it's just kind of okay. Um,
yeah.
Nothing really
Eh
stand out about it,
well, of
but
course, there is an end credit scene that happens after this episode,
yeah,
in which the government officials talk about that little attack that happened under Sanosuke and Tsukioka, and they initially assumed that it's caused by Shishio Makoto, uh, but of course they don't believe that's the case because due because Shishio would have caused a lot more casualties at that point, if that
yeah,
was the case. So. But yeah, it's a nice mention that Shishio is being hinted at, seeing as he is one of the next major antagonists of the storyline. But based on the looking up the title of the next episode, it seems like we're gonna have some kind of prequel episode of sorts.
hmm. Yeah, because I thought that this season could potentially end with revealing Shishio, and kind of just like teasing him as like as the next antagonist, for
Yeah,
like another season. But yeah, it seems like I definitely get the feeling that they are trying to faithfully adapt the manga with how things have been playing out with the series, because it does seem like they're not really rushing to get to Shishio, and because he is like one of the major antagonists of the series. But
yeah,
it seems like they're trying to go through some of these other story arcs before they get to that point, I guess.
yeah. It seems like they obviously, based on the title, it looks like we're gonna, like I said, it's gonna be like some kind of prequel arc. that'll focus maybe during Kenshin's Potosai days, and maybe it'll feature some of the characters like Shishio, like like before the events of the main series.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I mean, like I said, these two episodes, I thought they were okay. Another fairly decent little story arc like the last one with Raijuda. Um, but nothing that in terms of any like major plot progression, there's not really too much that happened there. These have definitely been like I guess more personal stories with some of the characters, and not really anything that kind of moves the any really moves the plot along in a significant way. Um, but it's still pretty entertaining for what they are. Uh,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about these episodes. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Honestly, I did like the whole Sanosuke story arc. It definitely
Yeah.
helped change him as a better character and how he was initially presented as. Back in like like initially he did espouse his whole anti-government views towards Kenshin, but of course Kenshin helped him realize that there's a better way to move on, instead of causing trouble or starting some kind of revolution that'll lead to several people getting hurt or killed, because Kenshin, of course, wants to try to deal with the situation that doesn't have like many casualties of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, guys. So that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.